the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Robert Alexander. I'm sure we'll have more of the team jump on as soon as they can. What's going on, everybody? What's up, Rob?
What's up, man? What's up?
All right. Not a lot going on this past weekend, but we do want to touch on some things. So, Rob, let's talk a little bit about Zhang closing Joyce's eye. I wanted to get your reaction because, you know, as I'm watching it unfold, I was just hearing you say, Joyce ain't shit. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, I mean, yeah, the guy has shown issues, flaws and issues periodically throughout his career. He's not the best fundamentally sound heavyweight. He's fairly new at the game anyway, and admittedly fairly new at the game. So there was a lot for him to learn. He still always was a tough opponent. And Saturday he looked very, very bad. It just looked extremely bad. Like, this guy, Zhang, didn't pull out anything that was unpredictable. He didn't do anything that you would sit here and say, oh man, he really studied the man. He just hit him with a flurry of shots, and he was able to nail him, with little to no defense on Joyce's part.
Yeah.
So, it was a Joyce ain't shit performance. It really was a shit bad performance.
Did this solidify for you, though, like, because I know we talked last week about where he is in the heavyweight division. Just solidify that he isn't going to be that, upper echelon type guy in the heavyweight division?
I mean, he can get his lick back. I mean, obviously he can get a rematch. The eye closed up. It's not like he was completely knocked out. It didn't go to a decision, so he didn't lose on the decision really either. It was really just because the eye swelled up, closed up. Got to give his mom a little credit. She was in there saying that, hey, you let some other people who my son beat go longer than this, and you wouldn't let my son out there, to defend himself. But it was a bad performance, period. I never included him in the upper echelon of prospects even. He's too green. He has too much to learn in a short period of time for him to challenge anybody like Fury, Wilder, even Ortiz, anybody, Whalen, anybody out there, anybody.
I mean, yeah, Zhang's not. I can't even consider Zhang right now like a gatekeeper. He's on his own path too. So losing to a guy like Zhang is not looking good for Joyce. And I would say it does kind of solidify where he is, where we thought he was. Again, what do we put him with? Who do you want to see him against next? Who would you like to at least test him against? I mean, if he already has this loss against Zhang, so do you want to see him go down or rematch Zhang? Or do you want to see him maybe take on a bigger name, or at least an upcoming name like a Jared Anderson or something like that?
He's got to go for the rematch. He has to. You have to avenge this loss, especially how bad it was. You have to avenge this loss. And he has to do it in style, in class. He has to perform way better. So that's nobody else. I don't want to see him in the ring with nobody else but to revenge his loss and try to keep his career moving in the right direction. The only thing he has for him is that it wasn't a clean knockout. It wasn't a clean decision. It was really.
I don't know what happened, but you were fine, and then we kind of lost you. And we can hear you, but you sound like far away.
Right, and as you can see, my face is right here.
There you go.
He needs to avenge this loss. Period. He needs to. It wasn't the only thing he has for him is it wasn't a clear knockout or a clean knockout. It wasn't a decision loss. So it was due to pretty much a closed eye, and that's from lack of defense. And he needs to avenge this loss. I don't want to see him against anybody until he can do that.
Yeah, I'd say that sounds about right for me too. I mean, you got to beat this guy because if not, there's no going forward, right? I mean, I don't want to see you in tougher competition. Why would I want to see you in tougher competition if you can't take out Zhang? So he's got to get past Zhang. I think you're 100% right on that. On the undercard, Michaela Mayer did win the unanimous decision over Lucy Wildheart. She did what she needed to do, but not really a lot of new information there, right, Rob, with this one?
No, Michaela should have won that fight in the manner which she did. Um, Michaela is a very good fighter. She's able to break down her opponents just like she did Saturday night. She's been able to do that against everybody with the exception of one person. So this wasn't a surprise. This was her getting back on the right track. Now, where she goes from there, that's where it's interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping she can, get back. Let's get that rematch. Everybody wants to see against Baumgartner. I think that's going to be a great rematch. I'm surprised it hasn't already been in talks. I don't know why. Even jumped to different competition here. You would think you would want to get right back in there. Hopefully that does happen, but that remains to be seen. I know we got Gabe Rosado coming on with the undercard, but other than that, like what really are we looking at here? We're looking at $85 for just Ryan Garcia taking on Tank, right?
I can't say nothing this time. I can't because the last card we shitted on and it was good. And it was a good undercard and it was good tough matchups, tough competition throughout. Rosado is fighting a tough opponent, one in which he's fought before, and they delivered a lot of action, which is why that fight is on the main undercard. A, they owe Rosado, they owe him, but B, they wanted to put him against someone who is a winnable fight for him, but a tough competition. So that's the real draw in that fight is we love to see Gabe, we love to see him win. It's a fight that he can win or lose, meaning it's going to be a competitive fight.
Talking David Morrell versus Sena Agbeko. That's for Morrell's WBA super middleweight title.
Now, Morrell, that's the one people need to look out for because Morrell should fly through that fight. He should fly through that fight. And it's not an easy fight. It's not a hand-picked easy fight for him. It's something that they feel like should test him. But if he's as good as everybody's putting him at, which some people already are trying to put him on the pound for pound list right now, it's too early. But if he's really that good, he should fly through that test.
Yeah, I agree. And if not, then we'll definitely revisit that. But like we said, I mean, it should be pretty one-sided. And I think Rosado, for the most part, should come away pretty one-sided. I know this is a super middleweight fight, so he's not fighting no light heavyweight or nothing crazy. So that's good. Yeah, let's get to the meat and potatoes, Rob. Let's just go on into it here. Let's talk Ryan Garcia's keys to victory. How can Ryan Garcia topple the tank that's been running over this division?
Well, that's a good way to put it. I like how you put that. Say that again. I want to hear that again.
I don't even really know what I said. How can Ryan Garcia topple the tank that's been running over
the
this
tank
division?
that's been running the division? Yes. Absolutely right. Listen, man, this, for one, and you can see it in all access, you can see it in training camp. Tank's not taking this lightly at all. He's not taking Ryan Garcia lightly at all. He knows he's up against a master class boxer. I'm sick of all the people talking about questions need to be answered, this and that. We don't need to answer those questions no more. Ryan Garcia is a master class boxer in this division. Okay. Um, so how can he topple Tank? This is a simple speed versus power matchup. Period. Point blank. Speed versus power. Okay. When you look at the blueprint, Leo Santa Cruz provided that. Leo hit Tank with a lot of shots in that fight. A lot of shots. People may even believe Tank was down early in that fight until the knockout happened. Ryan's going to have to keep outdueling Tank and landing these shots and landing his punches first, but he's going to have to do so in a way where he's able to keep Tank off of him, because that's where Leo Santa Cruz failed. Leo couldn't keep Tank from coming forward, and the inevitable happened. A lot of opponents look at Raleigh. When Raleigh fought Tank, Raleigh couldn't keep him off of him. He failed. Isaac Cruz tried to keep him off of him. Granted, it went to the decision, but he couldn't stop him. He couldn't stop the machine we know as Tank. That's the one thing that Ryan that nobody has yet to prove, and Ryan needs to prove, is that he can stop Tank from coming forward. If he can do that, he can win this fight.
Man, stopping Tank from coming forward, I don't even know if that's a possibility. I agree that would definitely help. It's just, can Ryan even do that? I don't know. Ryan Garcia, he's got his a few things. I mean, obviously his speed is key here, and that's what he needs to rely on. He needs to be on his horse a lot. He's going to have to jab at range and try to rotate out of the way of that power shot. And unfortunately for him, last I seen, he's still pulling back with his chin wide up there, and going to welcome one of those Tank hooks. Man, he needs to be perfect. I mean, as bad as that sounds, he needs to be perfect. He needs to not get caught. He needs to slow Tank down, which means a lot of jabs to the midsection and a lot of liver shots. Get in body work. And I think body work is actually going to be something that's beneficial on both sides of this, especially even for Tank, because you're looking at slowing Garcia down, because he can box circles around Tank if he's not careful. But really, I mean, that's going to be Ryan Garcia's thing. Tank's got so much power. He really does have to stay on the outside. The question is, can he do it? And I'm not so certain on that.
No, I don't think he has to stay on the outside at all. But he has to turn and burn. He definitely has to turn and burn. And that's something that I think Ryan can do in this fight, to be able to make it look like it's going his way. The issue with facing a guy like Tank is the power, because he has enough power and ability to change the fight in a moment's notice. Period.
Now, if you're going down just the list here, obviously we got power. That advantage is going to Tank. We got speed. That's going to Garcia. Ring generalship. Who do you see that going to? Pretty split.
That's split, because, again, if Garcia can keep Tank off of him and burn in turn, he has the advantage. But if he allows Tank to keep moving forward, then Tank has that.
Tank's gotten better at cutting off the ring as time has gone on. It's going to be a little bit harder against the Ryan Garcia, but I don't know. Let's go to Tank's victory here. I mean, we already know the power, right? So give me some other keys to victory for Tank.
Listen, in this matchup, this sounds funny, and it will sound funny to people, but patience is a virtue in this one because Ryan's been down before, got back up, and was able to mount a comeback and be very victorious. If Tank isn't patient with himself in there and overbears it, he's liable to punch himself out. He's liable to hurt himself stamina wise in the long run. And Ryan it has proven he's taken advantage of that before. Tank needs to stay as patient as he was in his last fight to let the fight come to him. Who cares if it looks like you're losing 2 rounds, 3 rounds, the first 3 rounds? Who cares?
He does.
No, he doesn't. Because if he
to a
did,
certain extent.
If he cared, he would have shown that last fight. I think he's learned how to be very patient in these bouts, especially at this level. And that's something that is really hard for people to be able to defend, is that patience. Because if you have a guy in there that's not willing to engage 100%, he's not willing to do that 100%, then it's hard to defend.
Yeah, I mean, certain fighters are a little bit more stingy with their punches, but Ryan Garcia is going to be letting them go. So, I mean, for me, I think Tank really needs to set more traps. And I did like what you said. I think patience is a virtue with him. I mean, if he can, what you do to catch a guy that's so fast, I mean, you got to time him. So, I mean, you're going to have to set those traps, and you're going to have to time Ryan Garcia and let him punch. Let him punch and feed off of what he's giving you. I do see Tank able to, really drop him and hurt him with a counter shot. Unfortunately, for a lot of speedsters, as I like to call them, like Amir Khan, a lot of those types of guys like to overextend and stay in the pocket a little bit too long, especially after combinations, or they'll extend the combination too far beyond its expiration date. Then they get rocked, and then they lose. You see, I don't want to compare him to Khan, but in a way, I mean, he is a lot like Khan. And look at the fight with Canelo. I mean, you can get Ryan Garcia, and I can definitely see Ryan Garcia pulling away with some of those rounds just with the speed, and being able to stay away from him and really not letting Gervonta Tank Davis get any kind of momentum going. And easily stealing rounds, but it gets to a point where mid-fight, what versions are we going to see? And right now, it's hard for me to say exactly, but if I got to go with anybody, I think I got to go with Tank on this one. I think he's going to be able to drop Ryan Garcia multiple times in this fight and hurt him bad. I see probably around a 8-round stoppage. And it's off exactly what I say. I think he's going to be more reserved in this fight. He is going to be more patient, as you said, Rob. And he's going to be able to really work on the counter punching that he does so well. I do think Tank's going to be able to time him and catch that chin wide out in the open there, like he likes to leave it. And that's all she wrote. I got to go with Tank, 8-round KO.
So this is one, we ain't even touched on it yet, but this is one of the very more interesting fights. Because honestly, and this is why this fight is so heavily touted, it could go either way. It really could go either way. And when I talk about speed versus power, one of the major things that people negate when it comes to speed is that speed can lead to power. Okay? The more accurate you throw, the more quicker the punches are, the more accurate they land. It can do some damage on you, and that can come from anywhere from a power shot, body shot, or even a jab. The speed can kill. Now, here's the thing though that people are negating in this fight too. Tank's got speed too. Tank's got speed too. And Carl, that's a very good point right there because as I alluded to earlier, I feel like Garcia needs to burn and turn. And that means the footwork does need to come into play for Ryan. If he can get that footwork down pat, and to answer your question, I believe he does have it. I believe he does. He is able to turn opponents well. As far as fighting off the back foot, I haven't really seen him do that well. So I can't give him that. But I can say that if he can burn and turn Tank in there, then he does have a chance at least getting to the end. And if he gets to the end, he has a real shot at winning the decision. So in terms of my prediction, no, I'm going with Tank. Period. I'm going with Tank because that is, as Lucas said, the Tank of the division. He steamrolls the division. Now, he's going to have to get a knockout to solidify this victory. I think if it does go 12, you're looking at a possible issue with politics in play. You're looking at a possibility where judges see two different fights, and that happens often, Lucas. Sometimes you feel like a fighter gets robbed when it really is just a tale of two different fights, two different strategies. What the judges see in those strategies and who they determine to win the fight.
Yeah, this one's hard. Now the footwork, yeah, Ryan Garcia's got good footwork, but does he have great footwork? That's the question. I think it's good, but I think especially when he's pressured, I think that footwork's going to fall apart. He needs to have that game plan and be on. I mean, that should have been everything to this training camp. Good footwork is, I think, one of his keys to really being able to come out with this win. He's got to be able to stay away from him, and I don't know, Rob. I'm not the only one, right? You don't think he's gonna be able to do it? You sound far away again.
Carl is making my exact points tonight. Exactly. Tank showed a lot of patience in that last fight, and he needs to do so in this fight as well. Because he can't punch himself out. Even if he does get a knock down, Garcia's shown us he can come off the canvas and win a fight. Tank does have to show patience in this fight, so I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Carl. As far as what you just said though, Lucas, can Garcia keep Tank off of him enough? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the footwork, I see it falling apart, especially once he starts getting pressured. But yeah.
Well, it's going to turn into fun for the boxing fans, because once Ryan isn't able to utilize the footwork, and Tank's able to get in and get those shots, guess what? It should turn into a brawl. It should. I think Ryan can handle that type of fight because of the speed.
But when you talk about a brawl, just the word brawl, and then picture those two fighters, who's it favoring? Not Ryan Garcia.
But what else does he have to lose, Lucas?
He has everything to lose. I mean, this right now you're looking at boxer puncher. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, you got Tank, who's going to be coming after him, and you got Ryan Garcia with that chin in the air, flicking that fast jab out there. Which
Again,
style that runs the fight, as you were saying earlier, you may see the tale of two different fights. You may see Ryan Garcia able to keep him at bay that first half, and then all it takes is Tank start finally touching him, mid-fight. After he starts touching you, it just takes 2 rounds, and you're out of there. That's why I had him about an 8th round KO.
Again, Tank's been in there against boxers. He's been in there. Leo Santa Cruz, great boxer. His last
He
fight,
likes to mix it up a lot, though. Leo stays in the pocket.
his last fight, his last opponent to me was a boxer. Raleigh really is kind of a boxer puncher, but I feel like Tank has fought those guys before. The only one who really has been able to test Tank really is Isaac Cruz, who's a brawler. So you got to show him different styles in there if you want to beat Tank. You can't just be one-sided. It can't just be a boxer in there.
I mean, I hear you, but please, when is the fight? This is Saturday's fight we're talking about. Kyrian. But damn it, what was I saying?
We're talking about Isaac Cruz and how Isaac was able to kind of get to Tank a little bit better.
But this is what I was saying. Yeah, each fighter is a little different. You obviously aren't going to tell Isaac Cruz to go out there and box. I mean, no, he's coming after you. You gotta use what he has. Ryan Garcia is not a brawler. I don't care how much he wants to be. He's gonna get Amir Khan if he keeps trying to do that. He cannot go in there and expect to just trade punches with Tank. Like, nobody really in the division should be looking to do that. No one. I don't care if you're Loma or Haney. Nobody's going in there looking to trade except for Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz should be the only one doing that, and he's pretty unstoppable so far. I honestly think that fight with Tank was super close, but I'm one of few, I guess. But listen,
it was close.
I mean, it was close, but Tank said for a reason he doesn't want this rematch. This was one of his toughest fights. Isaac Cruz was one of his toughest fights. But that's not to say Ryan Garcia is ever going to fight him like that. But I do feel if Ryan could be reserved, not get too scared, and not get overly jumpy and jerky, he can box him at a distance and really pull away with this fight with his speed. He has to be careful not to overdo it, not punch himself out. But let's be honest. I mean, this is pay-per-view, not even for the fact that it's a decent fight, but really it's for the face of boxing. I mean, this is the lower weight face of boxing right now.
All right, let's talk about that for a minute. We want to get into that. Too soon.
You think it's too soon? You think that's too soon? For the
too soon for one reason.
Why is that?
Because you have next month Lomachenko versus Devin Haney.
Listen,
those
Loma
are 2 more fighters in the same division that have their say.
Now, I'll agree with Haney. He still has his say. Lomachenko, though, is not the future of anything. Lomachenko's on his way out. Okay, he's getting up there in age, but he's already 35, 36, right? Somewhere around there. Maybe he's only 34.
So you say that
he's somewhere around there.
Devin Haney, he's right back to where he was.
He is, but that would still put him still at the top currently. That is not somebody who's the future face of boxing. This, I think, is going to lead because, let's face it, Ryan Garcia maybe doesn't have – he's kind of – he walks both worlds. And what I mean by that is he has the boxing following, but he also has that Jake Paul type social media following. So
he had.
I think he still has. I mean, I haven't checked his social media accounts, but I'm sure they're well above even a boxer of his stature. right now. I think well above. I can say that without looking at it. So this is really for a fight for the fans because these two are going to fight. Really, whoever wins is going to come out with more fans out of this. And I honestly think that who wins this, especially if done in dramatic fashion and a statement is made. I mean, this is high competition. So whoever wins this, I honestly would favor over whoever wins Haney Loma. That's me.
I don't. I don't. I think you can do a round robin tournament with all four of these guys and have different outcomes in each fight.
Maybe most, but I do think Tank is really the one in this division. I see him beating either one of those guys, and I see him beating Ryan Garcia this weekend too.
Say that again, please. Let me hear you say that again.
I see him beating the winner of Haney Loma.
No, before that, what you said before that. Tank, you see Tank what?
Oh, as the top of this division, yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I saw him when the kid was 19. I told you that when the kid was 19.
But we didn't have no proof yet. He didn't get those fights right away. We're seeing it now, and I think Saturdays is his coming out party for sure. Not that he doesn't already have that following, but I think this is going to separate him. He's wanted to be a pay-per-view star, for a while, and I think this solidifies that, and will have his pay-per-view buys go up. Not only does he want to knock Garcia out, especially if he wants that pay-per-view, that Mike Tyson reputation, he needs like a dramatic knockout victory here, and I think he's going to get it.
So again, we're speculating on the outcome. Is the issue here, which we can do because that's the fun.
What we're supposed to do, right?
That's the fun in this sport, right? But I'll challenge you this: if Ryan does get up off the canvas, shows guts, fights back, obviously loses the fight, but then you got to look at Ryan here and say, hey, he's a warrior, he's a tough kid. Guess what? He's going to get that credit as well.
I think as if he finishes on his feet, he's getting a ton of credit. The question is he going to finish on his feet, Rob? Do you see? You did say that you see Tank winning, but I don't think you said how you see Tank winning. You didn't really share that.
I think Tank can win. I think Tank can win by a 12-round decision. I think there's going to be a knockout, if not multiple, or knockdowns, if not multiple. I think Garcia people aren't giving him credit. He's not Amir Khan.
Okay, now we were agreeing with most of this show, but now we're not going to agree. Look,
he's not.
Look, when you come down to decision, right? I cannot see Tank winning a decision. If it gets down to a decision, I think it is going to Garcia. And the reason being is just simply for the style of how Garcia fights, right? He's very volume. He's going to put a lot of punches out there. So he's going to make Tank win these rounds. And by winning those rounds, he's going to have to land very hard shots. I mean, that power has to shine through. So with it coming down to a decision, and Ryan Garcia actually to survive this fight, I think he wins on his feet. If he does survive on his feet, that's a win, period. But I think it will be a win. You're back again. Can't hear you. Nope.
He might give away some rounds. He might give away some rounds because I think he's going to come out being very patient. I think when he takes over the fight, it's obvious he takes over the fight. I think he can catch Ryan, hurt him, or even put him down. But people are underestimating Ryan's heart. They have done so his whole career. Babyface, too much speed, he wins on speed alone. A talent yet challenged. All these things are what people say about Ryan. And
Have you seen his heart yet? I mean, is there a fight that you remember that stuck in your head that was
he'll
like
answer it.
this?
He'll
A
answer
tough
it
one?
this fight. He'll be able to answer it all in this fight.
Man, the thing is I think you needed to show it before you get into the ring with Tank. I think you need to prove that medal because I mean you got a large hill to climb, and you got to admit that if we're like we were talking about earlier with the power and the speed, experience also has to go to Tank. No,
Absolutely. Tank's been in this. I think Carl said it the best. Who can control their butter? Tank's not going to have any butterflies from Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is going to have them all. I think Ryan has butterflies in a lot of fights that he's fought lesser talented opponents. He's had the issue with butterflies. He's had mental issues, period. And that's documented. So Ryan Garcia is the one that's going to have to control those. But you know, it. I'm looking at it like this: he fought Gamboa. Everybody thought he was going to destroy him. It went to 12 rounds.
yeah.
I think Ryan is going to be able to prove something in this fight. He doesn't have anything to lose other than a notch on his record, but he has plenty to gain, and he needs to take this opportunity to gain that and go to 12 rounds and prove that he can be up there with the top dog. It might not be his time yet, but his time can definitely come after this.
Now let's regress a little bit here. I wanted to talk a little bit about Ryan Garcia and his confidence and everything. I know he's backed out of fights before just for mental stress, basically. Um, I wanted to talk to you about that because it seems like he's not in this as like the boxer lifestyle. Is he possibly just cashing himself out with this fight? Is he somewhat done with this sport? Does he think he really wants to move on? Does he want to be this big name? Is he chasing legacy? Because it doesn't feel that way. It feels like Tank is, feels like Haney is, and Loma is. Ryan Garcia does feel almost, how I said he's kind of on both sides here. He's social media star slash boxer. And sometimes I'm wondering what slash is he really on?
No, I don't. I don't see any Jake Paul type escapades from Ryan like that.
Not
I
as of
think
late. You're right.
I think the kid has always been about look, show and prove, right? And he has a point. Not only do I want to show and prove to these people, I want to show and prove to myself that I can do it. And he's always called out guys. He's called out Haney already before. He's called out Lumley. He's called out all the guys. He wants to be able to prove himself. That's legacy. That's legacy to me. Whether or not you can win the fight or not, let's show and prove it. Nobody out there is doing that. Nobody out there is doing that.
That's fair. Um, I don't know. Like, it just seems to me like he has, the backing out of the fight. Um, didn't he go almost like a year and a half too without fighting? In
Yes,
that long hiatus.
but if I seen escapades outside of the ring leading up to this fight, he's having bands come in the press conference. He's having celebrities come in the press into the press conference. He's um holding open workouts where celebrities are there.
But that plays more into the social media thing again. Like I'm saying, it's like he's showing up for this fight because he knows he's going to get that glamour that he wants.
Well, yeah, he's in the sport. Listen, Ryan Garcia said this, and you got to commend the fella for saying it. I'm in this sport for clout. Therefore, he chases clout.
Why
Therefore,
do I got to commend that though?
therefore, he chases clout. But he's not no pretender. He doesn't do all these escapades to get notoriety. He wants to earn it in the ring. You have to commend that. He wants to earn it in the ring. He's not doing Jake Paul shit. He's not fighting non-boxers. And he's fought some good ones. He's fought some unknowns, but he didn't fight tomato cans his whole career. He's fought some legit killers out there.
Who we calling killers?
Man, now you already know how I feel about Fortuna. Okay,
Yeah.
Fortuna, killer.
Okay, but you don't think he's actually a killer now, right? Like Fortuna back in the day, I could understand where you were coming from, but the Fortuna that Garcia just beat is not the Fortuna that you were talking about.
I'm just saying, man, he's not out there Jake Pauling it his way through just using social media. They're not spoon feeding him opponents that they know he can beat.
I mean, Ryan Garcia has been brought up pretty carefully. I wouldn't say spoon fed quite, but he's been brought up at the proper speed to be the star that they want him to be. He's borderline spoon fed, but he's not all the way there. Let's answer Carl's question here. Where does the loser go after this fight? Rob, I'm gonna let you say it, but first I want to say kind of. I mean, in a way, you questioned or you said this earlier. Is there's so many other fights and you can mix and match him. Ryan or Tank with Loma, with Haney, all these guys. So really, it's still a big name. He's going to be a big draw regardless if he loses, unless he loses super bad, like a first round knockout. Then I'm not sure. But as long as he brings a good, both guys, no matter who brings a good showing, it doesn't matter. They're going to be in the game for a while. I think there's anywhere you can go after this.
This is a great question. Ryan Garcia pretty much has a pass. It's going to take 2 fights, 2 losses, actually. It's going to take 2 straight losses for Ryan Garcia for it to have a major impact on Ryan Garcia's career. Why? Because like Lucas said, he is facing the top dog in the division. Not Haney, not Lomachenko, which should do more damage to his reputation and where he would go after this, but he's fighting the top dog in Tank. So him losing, he still has clout in the division to fight any of those other names.
What do you think about CJ? Neither one's Shakur Stevenson.
Shakur Stevenson ain't up there yet, brother. He ain't fought these kind of fights. We don't need to talk about Shakur Stevenson yet with any of these guys. Why? Because he ain't fought these type of fights.
CJ, I am kind of with you though.
Show up on pay-per-view. Show up on Showtime. Show up on pay-per-view first. Then you can talk to me about Shakur Stevenson.
I really would like to see Stevenson get involved into this as well. Hopefully, down the line we get to see that. But I think Stevenson stylistically plays a lot of problems on all those guys. We kind of did that with our March matchups. I think, there is no ceiling for Shakur Stevenson. I'm eager to see what he can do. Hopefully we get one of these type of measurement fights for him soon. Let's talk a little bit because, we already did talk a little bit about how disappointing, at least, the undercard is on paper. Now, the last pay-per-view actually, on paper wasn't that great.
You keep going to that, man. Hopefully, you say this and you're wrong again.
I hope I'm wrong. That's why I'm saying it. But at the same point, let's talk a little bit. How good do you expect this pay-per-view to do? I really haven't been seeing a ton of promotion for it.
There's people. I always wait on the phone calls that I get, and my phone line's been buzzing for the past month. When is the fight? When is the fight? When is the fight? And I keep thinking they're talking about other fights. What do you want? When Canelo comes back, that's Cinco de Mayo. No, I'm not talking about Canelo. What are you talking about? Lomachenko versus Devin Haney? That's a great matchup. No, they're not talking about that fight either. What are you talking about? The heavyweights? No, they ain't even talking about. No, they want to know when Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting Ryan Garcia. Okay, that's what they all been. But my phone line's been buzzing for about a month now, and that's what people want to see. And these are true fight fans, not boxing fans. So they only come out when the stars are when the star matchups are there. So this pay-per-view is going to do well. I'm going to put it, if I had to put a number on it though, shy of a mil. I'm gonna put it around 800,000.
I was actually going to ask over or under 500,000.
Over. I'm gonna put it around 800.
I'm going to say it goes over, but I was thinking more around the 600,000 mark. We'll see, though. I mean, apparently you're hearing more buzzing than me. I know we want it, and the boxing community wants it, but I haven't heard a lot of like common fans eager for it.
And let me say this,
but we live in very separate areas, so.
And let me say this too, though. I don't know how they're going to configure the numbers, though, because it is split between DAZN and Showtime. And sometimes it's hard to get those numbers from DAZN. So I don't know how they're going to combine it. What if they combine it?
I actually think I think this is the only one that we will actually get the real pay-per-view numbers for, because they do have to share that money. So in that aspect, they will actually have to be well recorded, you know what I mean, and share it. So I think we will get an actually accurate number for once and see where we're at with this Tank Ryan Garcia fight. CJ wants to know who has more to lose, Tank or King Rai. I say Tank has more to lose. They are trying to market Garcia big time based on his looks. I definitely agree there. They're trying to do like the next Oscar De La Hoya type thing, trying to, he's got that pretty boy vibe. They're definitely trying to do that. And I mean, you got to agree with CJ, right? Like you were saying, King Rai doesn't really have a lot to lose.
So look, I was going to touch that basis on Tank, and when the question was asked, what happens to the loser? Look, Tank has much more to lose here, and I say that because right around the corner in May, sentencing for his hit and run case, and jail time is not off the table. So if you look at a poor performance or even a loss here and possible more time away from the sport due to your legal issues that you've gotten yourself into, Tank has a lot to lose here, because not only is that going to hurt him, but on a fight of this level, of this scale, when people who haven't been paying attention to the sport now all of a sudden draw interest in this young man, and they see the legal troubles come about, he's going to even have more issues there with the fans. So Tank has ultimately the most to lose because of all the issues he's had outside of the ring, of how he wants to market himself. He's sitting here saying already he's not just the division, but he's saying he's the face now of boxing. That's big words.
I strongly believe that this one is for the face of boxing. This is the people's champ, so to speak. But CJ says Tank has to knock him out cold, otherwise he won't get a decision if it's close. I kind of echoed that earlier. And yeah, I think if it gets to decision, there's a far greater chance of Ryan Garcia winning this fight. I think Tank does need to knock him out, but I think Tank can do it, and I think he will.
So let's ask this question. Hold on. What was I trying to ask? Dang it, I lost it. Keep talking, it'll come back to me.
Well, I don't know if it was, how they're marketing him or what that deal is there, but Ryan Garcia, based on his looks and based on how everything is, also his volume punching, all of that is going to play a part into the judging. Okay. And all he has to do is throw a little flurry towards the end of each round to steal some of these rounds. Tank has to stay on him. And he's going to get outworked. Tank's going to get outworked. I think Tank has to knock him out simply for that reason as well. I think for every one Tank throws, Ryan Garcia is going to throw 3 more.
Yeah, and that's true. So if we can kind of switch gears though, there's a rumor running around.
Hang on. We're losing you again.
It's a new phone,
There you
so
go.
it might be the mic on the phone. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. We hear you now.
There's a rumor floating around. Big rumor that Saturday night, both one Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford will not only be in attendance, but will be ready to announce their fight this year to make it official.
Makes sense.
What about that, Lucas? What about that?
I mean, I can see that happening because essentially you already have this partnership happening with this fight, right? Because it's DAZN and Showtime, and that's who we would be seeing, right, with the partnership between Errol Spence and isn't Crawford with
No, Crawford
Matchroom now?
Crawford is free agent still, I believe.
I could have swore I seen that he signed with Matchroom. I may have lost my mind, but either way, you already have that inner workings there. So, and there's been rumors that they're still discussing and working that out. CJ here, it's a done deal. I think a lot of people are ready for that fight, and what a great thing for boxing that fight would be, because we're already getting this Ryan Garcia versus Tank fight, which I didn't think we'd be getting at least for another year, maybe 2. What a great thing if 2023 can bounce back from that fucking terrible year. That 2022 is just terrible for the men boxing. The women really saved it, but what a great bounce back it would be to have both of these huge fights. You know what I mean? Not to mention Canelo Bivol, everything that would potentially happen from that too. Bivol's talking about coming back, right, and going down to 168 and competing for all of Canelo's belts.
You know it. Who hates all of this action right now? My wallet. That's who really hates this.
My bank account's coughing up nothing. But yeah, I could definitely be a great year for boxing. Rob, do we have anything else?
No, because I anticipated it going a little long tonight with the big fight coming up and everything. What are the odds on this one?
Okay, I did actually have that pulled up. Let's see. Are you just wanting Davis win, or what kind of odds you want?
Man, give me all of them, man. We might make a prediction on that.
All right.
What's the best bet for this fight?
Odds to win. Davis, you're looking at -270.
Wow.
Do you want to explain that for the non-betting people?
It's still hard to explain to non-betting people because the way that they do it. So bets on fights are basically based upon $100 bets. So you bet $100. With basically you bet $100 is virtually what you could win. So what they're saying is that Tank is favored. So if you bet $100 on Tank, I might be wrong at this one because they're basically saying you got to bet $100 on Tank to win. What is it? 70 maybe?
Yeah, hang on. So Garcia is +205.
So for Garcia, if you bet 100 on Garcia, you win 205.
Right. So it's 2 times your money. Basically, whereas you're getting half of your money if you bet on Tank.
Exactly, half of your money if you bet on Tank.
So you bet 100, you win about 50, but it's actually A little bit less, actually, I think.
Now, what is the odds on Tank by decision? Just curious, because I'm pretty sure he's heavily favored by knockout.
Not even who wins, but just to go to decision, yes is plus 230.
Yeah, that's where my money is at, people. That's where my money is at.
No is negative 320. I'm actually surprised because I don't think this one's going the distance. And I might actually take this odds. Is Davis by KO is negative 135. So you're winning basically your money back. So whatever you put down, for the most part, a little bit different. But Davis decision or technical decision is plus 550. See, I don't see
So
that
they don't
happen.
even want to give him a TKO.
Those are the long shots. I think if it does come down to Davis, then I don't see that. It's like 5.5 to 1. So yeah, I don't see that happening. I kind of agree with the odds there. Garcia decision or technical decision is plus 700, and then a Garcia KO, TKO, or DQ is plus 285.
I'm betting on Tank by decision. That's what I'm betting on.
Tank by KO. Not really a good return on your money, but I think it sounds like from what the odds are saying that you're basically right on track with what Vegas feels is going to happen. Now, I am curious here. Let's see. It's a draw. Plus 1,400. This might be good odds to take.
For a draw, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a close fight. Let's face it. And these are both, cash cows. Nobody wants to see either one lose. How many times have we seen draws out of disappointing fights like this when we really want to see a winner? Happens a lot, unfortunately. CJ, if Garcia uses his reach and hand speed, he will steal the fight. It's the money on Garcia knocking out Tank in the first round.
Don't even bother, CJ. Come on now, CJ.
Garcia to win in the first round, you're looking at plus 4,500. 4,500. Wow. I mean, it's good odds if that's what you feel is actually going to happen. Go for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I want those mushrooms you're on.
Let's see here. All right. Now the odds for over and under 7.5 rounds are about the same. It's 115 to 120. So either way, I'm actually more surprised that you can just bet on it goes the distance and get double your money if it goes the distance. Actually, a little bit over than double your money. But you think this one's still gonna go to a decision at the end of the day, Rob?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I'm not taking the mushrooms.
All right. No Sakura today, but I would like to think she would probably also pick Tank. So right now I would say Tough Talk's all Tank. This is Tank Talk tonight. We sound like he's coming out victorious. Maybe, if everybody's up for it, maybe we can do a Saturday night show. That all just depends. So let us know. Comment below. Check us out. All of our social media at Heavy Bag Boxing. If you don't get a live show before then, you will definitely be able to check us out next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Carla's I'd like to see that. But yeah, don't forget to check us out again every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. All of our social media at Heavy Bag Boxing, www.heavybagboxing.com. Thank you for tuning in. Good fight, good night.